Okay, so in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can actually make tons and tons of content, probably weeks of content in just a few hours of time. I actually have 2 hours a week blocked out every single week to record content, to make sure that content systems are working, and I don't have to think about anything else. So this is really, really valuable if you have a marketing agency, any kind of service-based business where you do want to generate inbound channels. But yeah, if you don't know who I am, my name is Ben Lister. I help agency owners to save thousands of hours by sometimes doing their outreach for them so that they can start to work on the agency rather than working in the agency. So I've actually put together a bit of a document that I'm going to walk you through now. The document will be linked in the description and it basically covers everything that I'm going to cover today. So let's go. Okay, so how to actually create content then. So first of all, before we plan to make content and before we actually, turn the camera on, start writing that copy, anything like that, we need to have a goal in mind. So we want to actually understand what we're planning to give away, because when it comes to content, we're not just posting for fun. We're not just, doing this for no reason. We actually want to give something away to the audience. The audience needs a reason to be watching, to be listening, to be following you, whatever it is, right? We also want to plan out what we want to receive back from them, because we don't do this for free, of course. We do this to grow the business. We do this for more money, more attention, something like that, right? And obviously this can lead to growing the business. I always recommend to give as much value as possible to the target audience. And this is usually in the form of information. It's telling people how to do something. It's telling people your experience of doing something so there's something they can learn from your experience, something like that. And obviously out of this, they want to make more time, they want to save money, they want to live a better life in general, right? So often, because I cover videos on marketing agencies and how to build those, sometimes I'll have a video talking about focus, sometimes I'll have a video talking about minimalism, something like that, right? It doesn't necessarily link to marketing agencies, and I guess someone that ran a business that maybe they ran a gym or something like that, they could also benefit from that. But at the end of the day, the topics sometimes can cross over, and just because it's not making more money or growing the business or saving time doesn't mean it's not valuable. So there's quite a wide range of topics that you can actually cover. In return, you can either ask them to visit a website, a funnel, or if you're playing the long game, which is a very good idea, you can literally sell nothing for 6 months, 12 months, even more sometimes, and you just build your audience and you build your product in the background, and then eventually you can say, hey, this is what I'm selling. This is something that a lot of content creators have done that do very well in business, and sometimes they will target, let's say if their audience has 100,000 subscribers, right? Sometimes they're only targeting about 500 very select people from that. We're talking people that own, 8-figure businesses, people that make an awful lot of money, and those are the actual people they're reaching. Everyone else is just sort of generating free content and they're, pushing their name up. And what this does is it really just gives them like a seat at the table when it comes to, big deals, and they have a bit of a name and they can sort of, get deals that maybe they couldn't do if they didn't have a big platform. So that's something to consider, but that's obviously a very, very long game. If we're talking about, a small marketing agency or a service-based business here, creating content doesn't have to be that huge plan. You can very, very quickly come in and say, hey, this is what I'm selling, this is what I want to do, and give away tons of free content in the meantime. So once we actually have a reason why we're doing this and we know what we want to give to the audience, we need to find something to talk about. So this is one of the most important things. Now, I like to use ChatGPT to actually help me to generate ideas, okay? Now, I wouldn't just say to ChatGPT, hey, give me 10 ideas on how to write the YouTube video scripts or anything like that. What I would do is I would use it to almost like rack its brain, like go through the internet, find things that are good, and then I would build on it from there. So if you just use ChatGPT told me now we're going to make videos on this, so this is what we're going to make videos on, you're probably not going to make very good videos. But if you use it to sort of create ideas and to generate a list of things for you to cover, and then you build on from those, you're probably going to have a good time. So first of all, we want to break down your knowledge of the niche that you have into about 3 to 5 major categories. If you can think of more, then you can always do that, but we want to stick to the major ones because we're going to help ChatGPT to actually break those major ones into subcategories. Here's mine for social media marketing. If you were growing a marketing agency, you want to make sure you are booking appointments so you can sell your services. Sales is obviously very important so you can convert those. Service delivery is also very important so you can keep your clients. Hiring so you can expand and build your team, and then system building so you can actually remove yourself from the business and scale pretty effectively. So those are the categories that I see. Now we want to go over to ChatGPT, and the prompts that I use to turn these major categories into hundreds of subcategories is this right here. So I say, give me 25 subcategories of the major category, so whatever, one of these, for niche in list format, and a 1-line description of each. So if you're working with gyms, for example, you can say, give me 25 subcategories of sales for gyms in list format and a 1-line description of each. So let's go and put that in. Okay, so the best thing about ChatGPT is that it's literally basically instant, and I've just asked for 25 and it's given me a whole bunch here, right? So if you are working with gyms and you want to give value to people that own gyms and help them to sell more. There's a bunch of topics in here, right? So you can talk about, a fitness app or software sales, right? Maybe you can talk about different gym management softwares that are out there, maybe mobile apps, maybe something like that. Maybe the gym could use an app to sell an app, some kind of home fitness app or something like that. I've never worked with gyms, but this is obviously something that someone who knows a bit about gyms can obviously, break this down. Gym merchandise, maybe you know a bit about that. Maybe you spoke to one of your clients and you have some information on that you can share. Maybe we've got kids and family membership sales. So, maybe we could talk about group discounts and things like that, how to actually best promote the gym. We can not just do individual memberships, but we could also do a group one. And there's a whole bunch of stuff in here. And one of the best things about ChatGPT is you can literally say, give me 25 more, and it will do it just like that. And so this gives you tons and tons of ideas right now. So we have 50 that have just been broken down just for gyms, for sales. We can change this to personal trainers. We can change this to CrossFit gyms. We can change this to whatever, right? So the actual limit to this is basically unlimited. And there's just a whole bunch of topics that you can cover in here. And so once you've done all that and you've collated a bunch of these, obviously some you're not going to use every single one of them, only the ones that you actually can add value to and a bit about would make sense. So you're going to pick a few out of these. You've got a lot to pick from here, and obviously you're going to do multiple different ones. You're going to do appointment booking, you're going to do client retention, whatever it is that is effective for making gyms grow. And then if there's a particular subcategory that you find interesting, right? So let's say we talk about the group memberships. If there was a group membership category and you think, this is really interesting, I want to delve into this, maybe I can break this down into multiple videos, you can change the major category to one of the subcategories. So we can say, group memberships or whatever ChatGPT give you can just copy that in and then that would work, right? And that's going to give you even more at that point. And so once we have an idea of what we're going to talk about, and we have quite a lot of ideas at that point, we then want to put it into a format. So once we have, this thing that we're going to talk about, this group membership for the gyms, whatever it is, now we want to put it into a specific format that is engaging, that makes people actually want to read it, and that makes people stick around and know that you can add value to their business. And so for Twitter, the key for Twitter, or X as it's now called, is we want to be very, very simple and straight to the point, right? Most tweets are only seen for like a few seconds at a time as people just keep scrolling. Long tweets, I don't think perform too well. I'm sure you can always test it, but we need to be straight to the point, right? We don't need intros. We don't need, really long build up. We can literally just go in there straight away with as few words as possible. Obviously, if you're doing a thread, if you're going like really in depth, that can have its place. But oftentimes, if you're trying to build your follower base and you're, short and concise and you're efficient, then you're going to build a lot of engagement. So the most effective way to actually do this is to find tweets that you like based on other niches and then reword the tweet to actually add value that you have. So there's some examples that I've put in here, right? So this is a popular tweet that I found. I know this might be an unpopular opinion, but I actually prefer unpopular thing over popular thing. Am I the only one? So if you were talking about gyms, for example, you can say, I know this might be an unpopular opinion, but I actually prefer group sessions over training individually. Am I the only one? Something like that, right? And you can relate it to the business, right? I prefer selling to new customers rather than whatever it may be, like, trying to retain customers, or I prefer retaining customers over trying to sign new ones. Something like that, right? And this is going to add some kind of value. And so it's an unpopular thing over a popular thing, and you can add some kind of, oftentimes these unpopular opinions, they're not actually that unpopular because most people do agree with them anyway. It's just kind of like a hidden truth. No one actually talks about it. So you can play around with this kind of format. Another one here, you don't need overrated thing, you need underrated thing. So this was one that I always see where people say, you don't need to whatever it is. You don't need like a fitness tracker. You just need 8 hours sleep per night, something like that, right? So people focus on like fitness trackers where actually if they just had good sleep and a good diet or something like that, then they're going to probably be just as fine, if not better. And you can play around these within your niche. I'm sure you can come up with some good ideas. And there's another one here, harsh truth. Most people want common goal, but few will do difficult thing that has actual value. So most people want 10K per month, but very few will actually work 12 hours a day for 6 months, something like that, right? And so if you're stuck for formats, there's a couple of articles in here for you to go through, and you can actually go down the For You page of your Twitter and see which formats you like, see which perform well, and then just basically copy those and change a few words out. And the cool thing about this is because you're changing out the actual context, most people that see these tweets and they've seen this one for a specific niche haven't seen it for your niche, so it works pretty well. Then when it comes to long copy, so long copy is really good for Facebook, it's good for Instagram. There's probably a few other ones out there that it's good for, maybe like Reddit or something like that, but you can play around with it. But the reason this works well is because people tend to spend a bit more time on these posts. A Facebook post and Instagram post is more serious. You don't just post 5 times a day on Instagram, but most people will post 5 times a day on Twitter, and it can be done in quite a few different ways. So I've put an example in here, right, of a format that I like where you ask a question and it's sort of like a rhetorical question, and then you build on it from there. But there's many different formats you can use here, and this is really copywriting as a skill. It's to explain how to do this would be its own 2-hour video on its own. It's really something that you have to do yourself and do every single day. But there's a format in here where I talked about objection handling and why it's so important and why people that are good at it make a lot of money and different things like that. So you can read through that in your own time. Like I said, it takes a bit of skill, it takes a bit of practice, but if you do this every single day, your content is going to be very valuable in just a few weeks' time. It's not going to take you 6 months to learn something like this and to have effective content. To be the very best, it probably would be, but we're not looking to do that. We're just looking to put good content out there. And when I use this format, I always recommend posting it with a clear photo of yourself, right? Traveling photos are good, photos of you working on your laptop, things like that. And it doesn't have to relate to the copy, right? So if you're talking about objection handling, you could just be a picture of you in front of some kind of landmark or something like that. It doesn't have to be anything specific to objection handling. It doesn't have to be you like on the phone or something, but it still works pretty well. And then for YouTube, so YouTube is what a lot of people think about when it comes to content. It is like the main part of my content for myself personally. It is for a lot of people that are in different spaces. But of course, if you are in, if you work with interior designers, for example, maybe not every interior designer is on YouTube. Maybe they're on Instagram. So Instagram should be your main actual content channel. However, YouTube is great just for getting you out there. The algorithm is fantastic. It gets recommended a lot. It gets a lot of views sometimes. And it's one of the ones that you can grow quite aggressively without actually trying too much. So it is a good one, and I would recommend it for a lot of people who are looking to create content and they are in a niche that would actually facilitate that kind of growth. So there's many different formats you can use. These are the ones that I like to use. If you are looking for new formats or anything like that, just simply go to a YouTuber that you like, see what they're doing, and see if you can implement their format with your value and your information. It wouldn't be too difficult to do. But basically, the free that I like to do is the Google Doc video. So this is basically where you put your value onto a digital page, usually a Google Doc. So this is basically this one, this video, and you simply screen record yourself going through the document and you give explanations where necessary. So this is more engaging than like a presentation, like a slides presentation or something like that, and it's better than like a video tutorial, right? So it's just you basically explaining things, and oftentimes if there's a lot of information you want to go through, it also gives you a chance to give an asset as well. So obviously this document is going to be linked in the description, so people can use this in the future and they can save this for the future. And it's just a way to actually be a little bit more professional, a little bit more formal with the information that you have. And then there's a format that I call the one take discussion. This is literally where you just record yourself talking about something, and I like to do it in one take. Sometimes we'll edit it down if there's a couple of things that need to be excluded or if there's a mistake or something like that. But simply you create a list of 5 to 10 bullet points about the topic you would like to cover. You put your camera out in front of you, you press record, and then you speak. This is almost like a podcast clip but without a guest. It's just you speaking, or it's like a lecture, like a recording of a topic or something, and it has to be something that you're knowledgeable or at least interested in. You have to be able to talk for 10 to 15 minutes sometimes. If you're stumbling over your words, if you're not really sure where this is going, then it might not be the best one. So it has to be a topic that you are comfortable talking about for an extended period of time. And then there's an example of a video linked to there that you can check out to see how this format actually works. The last format I want to talk about is a screen recording walkthrough. So this is good if you are trying to showcase how to do a task, or if you are explaining something that you could do. So this is good if you are trying to showcase how you do a task, or if you're explaining something that needs a bit more context. So oftentimes if you have like a digital whiteboard that you can use and draw something out and explain the process. I've made videos talking about Facebook ads or lead sourcing, for example, and it's good to actually show that process. One, because it builds trust about how to actually do this. It's the proof of concept right in front of the viewer, and it also means that you give them more context. You can actually show them, hey, this is how it works. This is how I've done it in the past. It just builds that trust, and it makes a lot more sense for the viewer. And then there's a video of this linked here of my lead source method, I think it is here, but you can check that out. Yeah, so that is basically all you need to create content. You don't have to create hours and hours of content every single week. You don't have to spend, half your week doing this. You can literally spend 3 to 4 hours per week doing this and cover as much as you need. You can have many different systems, many different platforms where you post, and it doesn't have to take an awful lot of time. Creating ideas is like one of the shortest tasks that you actually do because of the system that we have here and how it works. I have ideas for weeks at a time that I can cover, and it's not really like a bottleneck for me at all at the moment, which is really fantastic. By the way, if you are looking to sign more clients on a done for you basis, then go ahead and click the first link in the description. I'm not going to ask you for your email or your phone number or anything like that. It's just a video of me explaining how my company does this and how it all works. You don't have to click it, of course, because if you just want to watch this video and enjoy the content, then that's completely fine. But obviously, if it's there, if you do need it. And so if you did enjoy the video, obviously go ahead and click the like button below. Comment if you want me to cover any specific topics at all, and you can subscribe if you want to see more. But yeah, appreciate you watching this one to the end. Cheers.